Hello, everyone. Welcome back to So Connected. This podcast is designed to discuss topics that leave you feeling more connected to yourself and to the world around you. And today, you can already tell I'm already very excited. I have a very special guest, a friend, and so many other things, but mainly my friend. I have Karen Kengonzi. And today we're going to be going into so many things, but just wanted to welcome you all and to welcome Karen. Say hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on here. I've been looking forward to this and I'm so happy that you're doing this. You're changing lives. So I love that. I love that for you.
The changing
It's
lives.
an honor to be here. So I'm excited.
Thank you so much for coming and agreeing to come. I want to get into your mind a little bit just right now. How are you feeling?
Like in this moment,
In
just
this
about
moment.
everything.
Yeah.
In this moment, I honestly feel honored just to be here with you, to be speaking with you on your podcast. Like, this is a big deal. Feel blessed. And I feel cold because it's freaking... It was snowing it was Friday and Thursday. And it's just been really chilly. So I'll say those are the three things that could describe how I feel right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We could take that. It's a bit cold in here, but
It
not
is.
as cold as it is outside.
Yeah. But thankfully, I have my hot chocolate.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's feeling cold. I'm feeling cold. I hope you guys are kind of feeling us. We just wanted to give you a vibe of what's going on here. But how about the emotions? How are those ones? Like, how are you feeling in terms of like just the new year? How is that treating you? How actually, if you can tell us, like, what do you have brewing, or do you have any expectations?
Honestly, like, started when this year started, I didn't well, before the year started, I was like, I'm gonna write down my New Year's resolutions and write down my plan January 1st and do all these things, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
That hasn't even happened yet. I feel like I sort of changed my mindset of like, I first want to take in the year. Like, I don't know if that would make sense. I want to take it in first. I want to be present first for
Yeah.
for this first month of January. I want to be present in my work. I want to be present in my personal life. I want to be present in my relationship. I want to be present in all aspects of my life. And I think that has allowed me to observe
Yeah.
much better and analyze like all the things that actually need work. Because I think going through 2023 and then just because I waited until December to be like, oh, I need to do this in 2024. I need to do that in 2024. But having this January month to just sit and fully, truthfully reflect and truly observe and analyze and internalize all the things around me,
Yeah.
I think has better enabled me to create those resolutions, to create, I guess, better substantiated resolutions,
Or maybe
I
like
think.
clarify.
Or yeah, clear resolutions,
Yeah.
with clear goals and clear timelines and clear deadlines. So I guess that's where I'm at. And I gave myself, because at first I was like, when January started, I was like, I'm going to give myself 2 weeks. And then I was like, I'm going to give myself the whole month of January.
Yeah, yeah.
To just do that. And because I also have some changes like that I'm expecting to be happening on my job. So, and those will impact my goals. Those will have impact on my career goals and my financial goals and so on and so forth. So I'm waiting for January to end so that I can put pen to paper and just outline and
Yeah.
start executing.
Yeah, the vision boards and stuff. I
Yeah.
can relate to you. Everything you said, because I've been in my mind, I know what I want from the year, but I haven't sat down. My birthday was 2 days ago, so I always do
Happy
things
birthday!
after. Thank you. But I always do things after my birthday because I feel like, okay, now I'm in the zone. But I still feel like we're in some kind of hibernation. Like we still need rest and everything, especially with the heaviness of 2023. So I like that you said that, because I've been like, at what point am I going to do this goals thing? But I think that when you already have something in your head, like getting it on paper is like, it's all about setting the mood. And like you said, you actually have a plan to actually plan things out. But also now it's like I like what you said when you said that, like, sometimes you, like, especially at the end of the year, we overwhelm ourselves with all these things without realizing that we're actually not yet those people, you know? Like, you have to give yourself time to transition. So, January, I think, is like the time for us to transition into
really
those people that we want to be. Like, you get into the year and get the feel.
Get the feel of the year, because some years just start off and you're just like, whoa.
I know.
And some years just start off and you're like, yay, I'm very excited.
Yes.
And I think depending on how the year started can actually be a determinant of how the year ends. Sometimes, obviously.
Yes.
It can give you some sort of perspective on how the year might end or how the year might go. So January is like, let's feel it out. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. No pressure. We don't have any pressure over here.
No.
Because most of us have taken on other people's pressures. Because you're seeing other people doing these goals and vision boards, and you think, oh, maybe I need to get to
I'm so
mine.
behind.
Yes.
What am I doing with my life?
Yes. No. We're not doing that. And thankfully, if you're out there and you have these similar vibes, we have a community, okay? No pressure. We're taking the day as it goes.
Yeah.
But I'm hoping you guys are slowly getting a feel of Miss Kengonzi. I love to call her Kengonzi because we're both Ugandan, by the way. Born and raised.
Raised-ish.
Yes, ish. Yeah. For me, for real raised, but ish for her. Yeah. But actually, I wanted to ask you about that experience. Like, for someone who's in Uganda, like, how was that transition for you from moving to Uganda and coming here to the US, and also tell them the age you were at? Like, what was that feeling for you? Yeah.
So when I was in Uganda before I came to the US, I came here when I was 12. And my feeling when I was in Uganda was like, because I was in boarding school most of my life, at least. So I was excited. Obviously, I was excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. And my excitement was more like not leaving my country or leaving my family. It was more like, I don't have to go to boarding school anymore. I don't have to, those little things that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
You have to deal with as a child in boarding school in Uganda. Like, washing your own clothes and going, like, that routine of waking up at 6 a.m. and being beaten, just being ordered around. That was what I was excited to get away from. And obviously, I was also excited to see this land of opportunities, because who's not excited to come to America? Like, I was so excited to come to America and experience it, and also just to say, like, oh my God, I'm in America.
Yeah, like, for real.
And have all the perks, eat what I want. Like, I had that child mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then when I got here, obviously, I actually got here 2009, December 31st. It was going into the new year.
Oh,
yeah, it was going to be New Year 2010. And Maryland had a snowstorm. It was so big, and I was just like, oh, like, when you leave the airport and, like, you've come from the sun, and it's loud, it's vibrant, and then you get here, and then we're the last ones in the airport because the immigration thing was just such a toll.
Yeah.
But I see my dad. That was like my first time seeing my dad since I was like a couple of months, because my dad left me when I was a couple of months old, before I came. So that was a shocker in itself. I was just like, this is so weird. Like, hi, like, how are you? Do I call you dad? Do I call you uncle? Like, I mean, we had a talking relationship on the phone, but it was just like, I didn't know how to act around him. But thankfully, I had my brothers, so we were all in the same boat. And then just getting out of the airport, it's snowing, it's cold. I was just like, huh. Like, in that instantly, I was just like, huh, this is, like, my vision. This is not the vision that I had in my head.
Yeah.
But I was still happy to be in America. I was still, like, a part of me was still excited. I'm like, okay, we're good, we got this. We're in a car, the roads are nice.
Yes. Yes.
No,
but December 31st, that's a cold time that you came.
Yeah. And I was like, there's no potholes. I was like, life is good. And then, obviously, I'm expecting to get to, like, a mansion.
Yeah.
Get a mansion, have my own room, like, and then we get to pull up this apartment complex, and I'm like, wow, my dad is so rich. I'm thinking my dad owns the whole building. And I'm opening, like, I remember, like, they took, like, my dad and his best friend, they took out our luggage from the car, and then my dad was, like, walking in front of us with, like, luggage, and then his best friend was walking behind us, as well as my brothers. And then I'm just like opening doors. I'm going to the laundry room. And I'm like, wow, we have a whole laundry room. There's like a machine. And then I'm like, and then I was about to open the neighbor's door. And my dad was like, no, that's not our door. And then we enter our apartment. And then I enter the apartment. I'm like, I guess it's the first floor. And I'm still in denial. Like, a part of me is like, maybe my dad doesn't own the whole building. Maybe he just owns like this floor and the next floor. I'm looking for the stairs that go upstairs. They're not there. And then at some point I realized, I'm like, oh my God, this is where we're living.
Yeah.
I mean, I was still grateful because it was still a little bit better than how we're living back home in the city at least. But it was also still like, this is not what I expected at all. Like, I expected a mansion. My brother expected a soccer field.
Yeah.
I expected a swimming pool. Like, you have all these dreams and expectations, and then you come, and then they had cooked for us. The chicken tasted fun. I remember that was one of the first things. Like, the chicken tastes so funny, and I couldn't eat it. I was like, this is just weird. And I just went to sleep, and I'm like, and I think that night, that was the first time I was like, damn. Like, it was like, I'm not in Uganda anymore.
Yeah.
When am I, like, I thought about, when am I going to see my mom again?
Yeah.
When am I going to see my siblings again? Like, my little siblings. And then after that, I went to sleep.
Yeah.
And then I woke up and I was like, shit, I'm in America.
Yeah, like, it's set in. But I think for everyone, there's always that expectations versus reality. And she does not like the cold. So it's so funny when I was hearing her. Yeah.
I was very disappointed at that part. And you know what's crazy?
Yeah.
Like, before we left Uganda, like, I think my dad had told my aunt to buy us, like, this big-ass jackets. Like, the long jackets.
Yeah.
Actually, did she buy them or did he send them? I don't remember exactly. But, so we were wearing those jackets in the airport in Entebbe. Because we had so much... Sweating. Like, we had so much mono. Like, it was so bad. We were all sweating, and then we got here with the same jacket. We never took them off. Only took them off on the plane.
Wow.
That was that. I know they must have looked at us and were like, yeah. Fobs.
Yeah, for real. I mean, the plane does get cold a little bit, so I get how you'd keep them on. But it's just funny how you had your jackets on the entire time. But America, I think for everyone I've talked about their story of coming here, there's always that thing of what you expect and what you find. And it's not even in terms of material things but there's, I think, at least for me, like there's while you're still in Uganda planning your trip here, there's this thing of once I get over there, everything is going to be perfect. Rather than it's going to be the beginning of your story, like a whole other story. So I'm so curious about that because you were joining high school, right?
No, I was actually, I had just finished primary 6, so I was supposed to be going to primary 7.
Okay.
And I guess to translate that, I was supposed to be going to 7th grade.
Oh.
I think that's how it translates. But because I came when the school year had already started, because I came technically January 2010, I couldn't go straight to 7th grade. I had to start 6th grade in the middle of that year and then sort of catch up with everyone else.
Okay.
So I did half of 6th grade, and then from there on 7th grade, 8th grade, and then to high school. So I did like middle school. And
wow, because I feel like you got the full experience. I started here in college, so in community college. I feel like you get a different experience than if you actually go to middle school and high school here. Like, it's just so different. And I actually wanted to ask you, like, especially the challenges that you faced during that time, because you're Ugandan at the core, and you're literally transitioning into the American society, but you're so young too. Like, you were really young.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't excited to go to school here because, one, I had short hair. And I mean, I have short hair now, but this is by choice. But you can imagine a 12-year-old having short hair amongst kids with hair, you know. And I was like, I'm gonna get bullied for this. I'm gonna look like a boy. Like, I look like a boy. So I was already insecure about that, and then also my accent, obviously, because I still have my Ugandan accent. I think for me to switch, it depends who I'm speaking to. My accent will come out or whatever. So I was like, they're not going to understand what I'm saying. And I was like, I had the assumption that American kids were much smarter than I would have been, or us.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to fail. Like, there's no way I'm going to succeed in this. Like, I don't think, I mean, in primary school, I wouldn't say I was the smartest.
Yeah.
I wasn't, you know how we have the streams? I was thankfully in the smart stream, quote unquote, but I wasn't like performing like first. I wasn't like, first or second. Like I was, I was okay. I was just average. So I was like, yeah, there's no way I'm not surviving this. But to the contrary, I was so blessed to go to school, because the first school that I went to was an elementary school that went up to 6th grade. So then I was in 6th grade, and that school had it was diverse. It had Africans.
Oh,
so I wasn't the first African to be there with an accent.
That's good.
I wasn't the first African to go there without hair. So it seemed like someone had gone through that experience before me. So when I got there, they weren't like fully shocked. Of course, kids would ask questions. Why don't you have hair?
Yeah.
And I would just be like, they cut off my hair when I was in school. And then they'll ask me like, are you nervous? I didn't even know what nervous meant. I'm like, what do you mean? Am I nervous? I'll just be like, yeah. But then I made friends. Like, people actually wanted to be my friend. Like, I remember this girl, Zainab, and Deborah. Like, I remember them so distinctively, but we're not friends now. But I don't know how they are. I hope if you watch this, I hope you're doing good.
Yeah.
But I know they were they played a vital role in me being comfortable at that school. They showed me around. Like, this is who you can sit with us, I remember at one point, like, Zainab would be like, I'll be with you. Because Zainab and Deborah were not necessarily friends. I don't think, were they friends? I don't remember them being friends, but Zainab would spend some time with me. Deborah would spend some time with me. So I didn't really feel alone. And you can tell the kids knew that I was from Africa. It's almost like they were given a heads up. Because, I think sometimes like in elementary school, they'd be like, oh, there's going to be a new kid joining your school, or they make an announcement or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think they knew that I was coming. And obviously...
especially at the time you joined, like, they definitely would notice.
It wasn't the beginning of school,
Yeah.
So then, and another thing would have been with my accent. Like, I really, really struggled with that, because they would call on you to read in front of the class. And for me, I had never had to do that. Like, in Uganda, we don't have that sort of teaching style. The teacher comes, they write on the board, they ask you a question, you answer. If it's wrong, like, you're embarrassed. If it's right, you're good. Like, we don't read. They don't just call on you to read a whole paragraph. So, I remember they calling me to read, and I'm like, why me? I didn't want to do that. But over time, I got better. I mean, my English was good.
Yeah.
It was just the accent. Like, people would be like, we can't hear you. So I was very soft-spoken. It's like, we can't hear you. Speak louder. But I was very, very shy. And then I also remember, like, a disturbing fact of the teachers just being so shocked that I was smart. Like, like, I remember, like, my English teacher talking to another teacher, like, can you believe she's from Africa? And she's, like, outperforming all these kids in, like, English and writing. And I do remember a good amount of that. They were shocked that my English was good. They were shocked that I actually did pretty well. I think that was my first time. Oh, hold up.
But you were a top performer in Uganda.
I got like all A's, and I was like, well, I'm doing well. I'm so shocked. Like, I was like 4.0. By the time I got to high school, that was over.
But actually that's I think for someone who's transitioning to a new environment and doing that well, because I feel like a lot of things are reflected in our grades. So I think that showed that you're kind of, I guess, assimilating or whatever.
And I had no room to fail, though. Like, you can imagine, like, my dad, the whole song in the house was like, I brought you here to study. The sky's the limit. Every single day, the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. You have to school. You have to go to school. And I really, really wanted to make him proud. It was almost like my way of paying him back. Like, me showing him that you didn't do this for nothing. You didn't toil for nothing. You didn't bring me here to fail. So I think I would even come and tell him, like, when I thought that I would have performed poorly on an exam, I'll come and tell him, I was like, give him a heads up, sort of. Like, I didn't have enough time to finish this, because, sometimes the tests are timed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they had multiple choice. Because to me, a multiple choice was a little bit... It was good, but another way, it was also confusing. Like, it was tricky. I was like, they had multiple choice. I'm like, I don't know. Like, were they trying to trick me? Were they trying to... I knew the answer, but then they had other options, and then sometimes you have to like write out stuff and it's timed. So I'd come and tell them everything, and I'd be like, just so I'm just telling you this, just in case my grades don't come out good. You know, like I tried, like I put in the work. So I think I was really, really, really trying to make him proud and sort of repay. I think it was more of like, you didn't do this for nothing.
I get that. Like, you're new here, and I feel like as kids, especially in Uganda, the one thing you're focused on is education. Yeah. There's no, like, we're not doing extracurricular or swimming or all these things.
No.
Like, read those books. Like, every answer is in that.
Is in the book.
I was raised exactly that way. Like, for religion and books were, like, the main thing. Like, everything else, because everything kind of falls into religion. How you morally behave and all these things. But, it felt like we were trying to... Yeah, I guess even for me that was my motivation until it ran out. Like for school,
it runs out. Yeah,
it always runs out, especially college.
Yeah, it runs out. You're like, I paid enough.
Yes, sometimes you just want to do something for you because you want to make yourself proud, and that takes time. You first have to.
It really does. Yeah.
To please your parents a bit and then get to you, but there's so much that you said there that I wanted to pick out. But I'll just I feel like you're going to hear her story more as we keep going. Like, we'll keep going back to the past. But I just feel like you're very resilient based off what you're saying. But also, those teachers that I think I experienced the same thing with you of people always being shocked that you actually have a thinking mind. I think there's some assumption that Africans maybe were undereducated. Like, maybe even our education is not at the level of the kids here. So when we come and we're actually, even at some point doing better, it's like, wow, not the children from Africa. Like, and I'm just like, are you familiar with the Ugandan education system? Because it's actually a great system.
Because we emulate the British, I think.
Yes, actually, we do copy the British. But just with our English, like, English is our official language, but it's not just about how we speak. It's like...
It's the correct.
Proper. Yeah, it's proper. Like, we were taught things legit. So when you come here and you get that surprise, for me, I took that on as, it's like you're the underdog. That most times you're always going to always shock people. And for me, I took that on as, wow, I actually didn't know my potential. I realized my full potential here. And I don't know if that's the same for you.
100%. And I think that that stereotype is on both ends, because like I said, before I got here, my thinking was that these kids are much smarter. Yeah. Because that was my thought. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna outperform them. There's no way I'm gonna be on their level, because to me it's like I'm coming from Uganda, like Uganda in America, what?
Right.
You know? And then also for them, I think that's for the teachers, that's what they know. That's what they're taught. That's the narrative that's taught. Like we Africans are dumber. Maybe we don't have the same, because we don't have access, or maybe we don't have resources, and so on and so forth. So in a way, I don't blame them, because that's all they knew. That's all they were shown. Because had they had the chance to travel or be exposed to something else, I don't think they would have thought that. I think their thinking was because of what they were shown and what they were told. They didn't know any better, just like I didn't know any better. So I think it's a two-way street.
Yeah, it definitely is ignorance on both ends. But it's like, I think these things even come in through like how we're raised and what media does, because they teach it on our end in Uganda. They tell you that, you guys are probably less than, but then when they also teach it here that, you guys 100%. Are better than everybody. It's like, that way when you come, you're all so shocked by each other, like,
and then when you come, you're like, actually, like, I remember when I came, and I'm pretty sure it's the same for you, like, the multiple choice was good, because I had never like taken it. Maybe in secondary school they had multiple choice, but in primary school there's no multiple choice at all.
You had to know.
I was like, you had to know. You had to, like, if the question is like, what year did Uganda gain independence? You have to write in a full sentence, Uganda gained independence in this year. Sometimes they want you to know the month. Or like you have, if it's a theoretical question, they want you to explain. So you'd have a question where you have to write the answer and explain why the answer is the answer. Yes. And God forbid you don't put a full stop or a period at the end of the sentence. that's also criteria for you to get half points off or even fail the question.
Yes.
Or God forbid you miss a comma where it was supposed to be a comma. So it was like our tests were so rigorous compared to the testing methodologies here. Like,
yes.
There's so many resources here, even in college. Like, I'm pretty sure you experience the same thing. Like, you
Yeah.
have a study guide, you have Simanya Chi Chi sometimes.
Yes.
I'm like, this is nice.
It really is. Like, for me at that point, I was like, oh, failing is not an option. Here.
It's really
I
not.
performed better too in this country. Definitely not the A's that you were getting, but
that was in the first, because like again, like it makes sense, because I think it's pretty much the same thing for any kid who had a good education system back home, comes here and joins their education system. They're most likely going to outperform them, unfortunately. I think actually maybe I might say it depends which area code you live in.
That's true.
Because maybe you might go to, because my friend went to BC, and maybe if I'd gone to school in Montgomery County, maybe I might not have performed well, as well. It depends, but the chances of kids coming from Africa who have had a good education system to outperform kids in America, I think are higher.
I agree.
Than the opposite. So anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to be diving into so many topics. Like today, I just wanted to warm my Kengonzi up to the community and to know randomly what is something, this is actually not related to what we're talking about, but what is something now that's bothering you about the world? Anything that you think that this year maybe we should focus on. If you have any solution, that would be great. But just something that bothers you that you think that we are ignoring as a people.
Mm-hmm. So I think there are a lot of things that are bothering me in the world, and I think the biggest thing now is religion. I think we talked about this yesterday. I personally grew up in a family that was very, very, my mom's side of the family is very, very religious. Like my granddad was a pastor, my uncle was a pastor. We have a church, like we own a church, like we run a church. And so growing up, religion to me was a habit.
Yeah.
It was in everything like we did. You know what I mean? Like in school, like our country is a religious country, to be honest.
Yes,
and
it is.
We are moderately split. I think it's a Muslims respect Christians respect. Like we're perfect. Like we
get along.
We get along very, very well. But we all each respect our religions.
Yes.
So, and we're all religious in our own sectors.
Yes.
So I grew up in that sort of environment, and even when I came here, my dad really made an effort to make sure that we went to church. And then when I went to college, or when I started high school, it was, and my dad sort of was slightly out of the picture, and sort of he wasn't there as much to make me go to church. I sort of stopped going to church. So my relationship with God or with religion was, since my childhood, was because it was what I was shown. And then starting high school, I was just like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this. Like, I sort of fell into the crowd of like, I bought into the American theme of like, we're sort of religious. We say God, but we don't really practice. You know what I mean? Like, we're God this.
We're spiritual.
We're spiritual.
We're not religious.
But we're not religious.
Yeah.
Yes. So I sort of, and not to knock those people who are like that. That's for you. But what I'm trying to say is like, that's where the path led me.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, and it deteriorated. My relationship with God just deteriorated very bad. I was just having fun doing things I honestly shouldn't have been doing, but because I lacked the moral compass, or I lacked the proper guidance. I lived a certain lifestyle that I now look back on. I'm like, wow, I actually thank God that I made it through to make it to where I am today. Because there's certain circumstances that I would find myself in, and find a way out of those circumstances, and I'm like, how did I get out of here? And why? And then now I look back, I'm like, why was I even in that situation? Why was I in a car with 6 people, in a 5-seater with 6 people? We're all drunk driving. You get what I mean? You know, why was I out at a nightclub in 20-degree weather in the shortest dress of dresses, standing outside, waiting to get in the line of a club? I could have had pneumonia. There's so many things that could have gone wrong in my life that didn't. And I just sort of wish that I had the guidance, or I wish I held on to religion, because I think if I did, my college experience would have been different. But I'm also, like, in the same breath, I'm also very thankful for that experience, because it was the best teacher. Like, it was the best teacher, because now there's nothing you can tell me about the world or the streets that I haven't experienced or that I haven't seen. You can't tell me about promiscuity that I have been promiscuous. Like, you can't tell me about the way I dress, or showing my nipples, or whatever, exposing my body. You can't entice me to do that. Like, it's not enticing anymore because I have done it. So it's been an experience. Anyway, that was a long-winded answer to, like.
No, I feel you.
That was a sort of an. I even lost my train of thought, but I think to now, looking back, comparing my life then and my life now, I think now I'm at a point of my life where I'm choosing God. I am choosing to seek God. I'm choosing to live through God. And don't get me wrong, I'm not there yet. I'm not where I know I should be or where I want to be. But I am working on it. I am working to take that path. I have taken this path, and that path, thankfully, I didn't die or nothing bad happened to me. But I know how bad it could have gotten. Now I'm choosing this other path, and I'm not righteous. Like, I'm a sinner. Like, I'm there's so many things I still do that I'm not proud of, but I can now acknowledge that they're wrong. In the eyes of God. There are certain things that I say, or music that I listen to, or the way that I carry myself, or sometimes even the way I think about people, and I know it's wrong. And I'm glad that I know it's wrong. I think that's an important thing that I think, to tie into the question that you asked, is something that's wrong with the world. I think we have lost a sense of what's wrong and what's right. And a big part of that is because we have all, maybe I'm projecting, but I think a good portion of us have lost a sense, at least in the West, have lost a sense of religion. Like, we've withdrawn from religion, like, especially with Christianity. There's a lot of, like, mocking of Christianity, and, like, it's almost like people are going along with it. It's almost like it's like there's certain things that people mock in Christianity that they would never mock in Islam.
That's true.
They would never. Like,
that's
like, and not like a hot topic, but we recently saw Lil Nas X. I don't know if you saw, like, his music video of how he, like, put himself on a cross, like Jesus Christ. Yeah, and
is it recent?
Yeah, that's his album.
Because he's been quiet for a minute. I haven't seen
that's his album cover, and he put himself with Jesus Christ. And there's other, like,
I think there's another movie that's doing something like that on Netflix.
Yeah,
that's like there's like it's like I think it's like a black Jesus, something like that. But
but there's certain little things, and, like, in our casual mentioning of the devil, like, of our casual, like, including the devil in certain things in music and in films, like. And we're not including the devil in context that, oh, we're afraid of the devil. We're almost including them in terms of, like, we're praising this, or, like, or people even claiming to be the devil, or people even claiming to do devilish things. And I'm like, it's not even out of fear. It's more of, like, I'm proud, and this is what I'm doing. And it's all those things that I just feel like, and maybe, I realize this now because my perspective has changed, and because I'm trying to take a different path, and I'm trying to go somewhere else, and I'm trying to seek God. And I think now my eyes are even more open to this, because I don't think before my eyes were not open to this. I think before I was a part of the other world who didn't even see any wrong in this. And now I'm just more like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening. I can't believe we're actually doing this. I cannot believe that there are certain things that we know in the eyes of God are wrong, but we're all just saying, like, no, it's right. Because we as human beings have said that it's right. You get what I mean? It's almost like we've taken the power away from God.
100%. It's a high level of arrogance, really.
Very
because
much.
When we think about how, because by the way, we're both different religions. I'm Muslim, but it's like we know the stories. Like, our religions are very connected, actually. Like, when the devil is chased out of paradise and everything, it's arrogance that gets him out. And there's an Islamic teaching that says that arrogant people are not people of like we have to work on arrogance. Let me just say that, because I don't want to scare people, but it's like arrogance is the worst thing, because you see something is wrong, but you justify it, and that's the thing. That's justifying. About us. We will justify anything, and that's the thing about the mind, that once you start to learn about the mind will justify anything. Like, as long as it's defending you, it wants to keep you safe. It doesn't want to make you seem like, oh, at this point you've actually crossed the line. No, it will defend you. And that's how murderers and all these people, they don't never see the problem, because they have that. And it's like, it starts somewhere. And I think we're climbing the ladder to that, where we're actually going to become each other's enemy. I think the biggest issue here is like, we're going to end up to a lack of trust within each other. Yeah. Like, it's already happening. Like, we don't trust each other on anything.
At least in this country. Because I can't speak to other, because I don't want to say in the world, because my experience back home is different. Like, back home, there's people who steal. Like, obviously, you shouldn't leave your phone here in a restaurant. But when you actually go to the villages and like, those little communities, they have a sense of community. They have a sense of trust. They have a sense of family. They have a sense, and they're all connected. Most of them are connected by religion. And then they're connected by family. And then that's another thing that we're losing. We're losing religion and we're losing family. Like, we are so focused on chasing money and chasing anything else but like family. Like, we're prioritizing worldly things over each other, or over God, and over our own family, which is sort of heartbreaking, because like, you always tell me, like, when shit hits the fan, you need to look somewhere. You're gonna have somebody to call, and I think that's why there's a lot of people who are depressed, because there's a lack of trust. When shit hits the fan, they feel like they can't trust anyone. They can't speak to anyone. They can't speak to God. They can't call on family. And then you just feel like you are alone. You're isolated. You can't communicate. You can't let this pain out, which is very heartbreaking.
Oh yeah, for America, especially now that we're in the epidemic of loneliness, like, we're in it. Right now we're in it. People are very lonely. Don't let them lie to you. But just how other people don't even believe that. How America's still the goal.
Because do you know why it's so easy to believe that people are not lonely? Because we have social media. Because no one's going to portray to you and come and tell you that I am lonely. People are going to buy the nicest, like I said, they're going to chase the worldly things. You know, they're going to chase money. They're going to chase followings, because I think we're gods now. We want a following. We're gonna chase luxury. We're gonna chase show off that we're okay, but or try to show the world that all is cream and peaches, like everything's good here. We're traveling here. We're doing this. We're doing that. We're going here. But deep down at the core, you are lonely as hell. And don't get me wrong, there are people who do that and they're actually fulfilled.
That's true.
There are, and I think sometimes you can tell the difference, because for them, I think if you pay attention to the way they share their content, it's not in a way of like, not every little thing is being filmed, or not every little tiny like thing is showing like, oh, I did this, oh, I traveled this, or maybe they might even travel and not even put a location to it. But then there's those people who like go to Pennsylvania and they're like, Pennsylvania. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes it's like you can tell like the difference between someone who is posting to pretend to show that like they're okay when they're not really okay, and the people who are just posting to show like, you know what, I'm so thankful that this happened to me in a theater, and so on and so forth. But like, we're lonely at the core.
Oh, we're very, very lonely, and the thing is that when, kind of like when you said that when shit hits the fan, because most times people ask like, why should I depend on someone I don't even know is there? Like, why should I build this relationship with this thing that's not even there? Like, if God was really there, would there be all this suffering? Because I get that doubt that people have, but the world is designed to like take from you, and it's just like we're kind of here to suffer in a way, and at some point you run to something, but if it's not there, that means that relationship with God, you're going to drugs, alcohol, sex, desires, shopping, and that's what I see in this society. I'm telling you, the core of the work that I'm doing, of just talking about So Connected podcast, for people to connect to themselves and to the world around them, it means that every person is connected to you, but how they're connected to you is through the way you treat them. And if you don't have a higher power that's guiding you to be like, I'm accountable, like no one's here, but how I speak to this person actually matters, you know?
Yes.
Like most times we all like, oh, okay, I'm recording, I'll be kind, but once the camera is off,
you're rude
and
as hell.
right, so we're very performative because it's like anytime we're nice, it's only for us or to get something out, that when it's not reciprocated, we're upset because we're not doing it for God or for anything bigger.
Yes. When it's not
know?
reciprocated, we're upset. And also, people are even shocked when people don't even believe that people are nice.
Oh yeah.
Like there are certain times
yeah.
I've done something and like, you're wow, like you're so nice. But even me, I'll be honest. Some people have done certain things for me, and I'm like, wow, and I'm even shocked, and I'm just like, I can't believe that you did that for me. But we shouldn't even. Like, we're human beings. Like, we there's a way that we should treat ourselves that's different from how we treat other animals, right?
That's so true.
But it's almost like we've come to a point where, like, we're just treating each other like shit. Or, like, we're just like your dog or another animal. Like, how you treat another animal that's not human. Which is
Except
very
if
sad.
you have money.
Except if you have money, yeah. Except
And
if
status.
You have money. If you have money and status, then your treatment is completely different.
And that's why we're all working to make
get
the money.
Yes, to have
so we
better
can
treatment.
But then when we get the money, because to make a certain amount of money, especially when you don't have God, you're going to kick away everything.
Yes.
Your values.
Yes.
You're going to get into greed.
Yes.
You're
Greed will eat you. It will take everything. You might think that you're making something or that you're earning something. Greed will take everything.
And the thing is that you're getting it to fill that void. Because the thing is that most times when you want to make that kind of money, it's so you can use money to get you things, right? To buy you the healthcare, right? But it's not so you can make the world better. So it's like we're becoming narcissists in a way, and we don't even realize it.
Yeah.
We're chasing money because we think we're going to get the fulfillment, but I think the thing that we're chasing is taking us away from the now and people, and not realizing that money is actually in people and connections, your family and all these other things. But honestly, religion is values, because if you're over there and you're like, I'm not religious, that's no problem, but have some values that you walk on of, I'm not doing this, I'm doing this. What are you standing up for? Because people do not stand up for anything these days.
And it's important.
It's because there's no religion.
There's no religion.
Because
there's no respect. There's no love. There's no need. There's no
accountability.
Accountability, and there's not even a I don't know what word to use for it, but it's like almost like people who are religious are sort of looked upon like you are uncool. Like it's almost like, not that you should care if you're religious. I know that you should care, but it's almost like you're looked at like because I have had these thoughts. So maybe again I could be projecting, but maybe I should speak from personal experience, because there was a time when I was like, partying and going out was what was cool to me. And people would be like, I'm going to church. I'm like, girl. But now I'm just like, wow. I wish I had known, because I feel like that's more fulfilling actually. I want to be that uncool kid. I want to be uncool. I want to go to church. I want to praise God. I want to look for God. I want to find God. And don't get me wrong, it's not easy. It has not been easy, and I'm not perfect. But at least I know that's where I want to go, and that's where that's the path that I'm working on getting on. You get what I mean?
I get
and the thing that you talked about, money and having accountability, like having those, like there's certain values in religion, whether you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, there are certain fundamental values that will guide you. If you actually are religion, if you actually do believe in God, when you get that money and you hold on to those values and you hold on to those teachings, you will be fine.
Very fine.
You will be fine. But when you don't have that, like you said,
you're performing for people. It's like, because you have one or the other. We're all working for one or the other, whether we know it. We're working either to please people, to gain love from people, or to gain love from God and get that. So sometimes when you're not clear about that, you're going to be performing for people, and people pleasing, trying to achieve that way you can be seen as worthy. Meanwhile, your creator doesn't even need none of that. Like, but it's honestly, for anyone who's out there who doesn't even know where to start, I would just say right now, like, to ask for guidance. Like, just as you're there, talk to whatever you think is God and be like, guide me to you. Like, ask for it, because you have to ask for this. I think maybe in our next episode, we'll get deep into your story of what you benefited, but what actually made you want to maybe come back on this other side, because that in that I'm sure is something to learn, because I'm thinking that what you're expressing here is from that space of discontent that you had then, of like, oh man, if I had what I have now, you know, and it's like I think we'll dive into that.
But that's age. I think that's with age.
But no, it's age. But I don't think we all grow, Kengonzi. Like, I don't think we all grow. Like, most of us are in that loop of repeating the same things. But for you, you realize that something wasn't working for you, and you didn't know what you wanted, but you were just like, this is not working for me. I want something more. And that, I think that's the point of frustrate. Like, you're tired of this. Like, you want something new. That right there, I feel like for most of us, we first have to get depressed. Honestly, for some of us, we have to get really low, but you don't have to. You can create a relationship with God now. Why do things have to be bad for you to pray? You know, it's like that kind of stuff. And that's the culture, and we're trying to encourage that of, you don't have to be alone. You don't have to be dependent on people. There's actually more that's looking out for you, and as we talk, you're going to feel us more, because it's just the beginning of the episode. But I'm passionate about what she's talking about, and to be honest, for me, my tact is kind of like using knowledge and stuff to finally bring people to God, because I know, kind of like what you're saying, when you come and tell people this is wrong, this is right, this is wrong, nobody wants that. Like, everybody just runs away from themselves. Yes, and that's what we want to do. We want to share our experiences, because kind of like when she was talking, like how she transitioned to come to this side. If you're on this channel, I have an episode of that where I'm talking about how I transitioned to dressing modestly and switching my life, but it comes from somewhere to decide to do that. But America would do that to you. Like, you really will. Like, everyone, when we came here, really thought that we were going to get off track. Like, but it's like, you have to find God when you're here. There's so many things that act like they're God here.
There's so many
drugs and so many things that can take that energy, you know, and so many. Oh my goodness. Even just consumerism, shopping nonstop. Like, all of that is a sign of something, of feeling that void. And honestly, I hope you are going to enjoy this. Anyway, I'm thinking you're going to say something else, so go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and I think people are actually afraid. I actually think there are people who actually would like to believe in God, or actually do believe in God, but like the spiritual people that we talked about. And I think for them, they're just afraid to commit, because, and I speak this again, I'm also speaking for myself, is you're afraid to commit because God, religion, practicing it requires discipline. It requires work. I think people want to do this thing of like, let me come in and just say God, or when things are bad, then they pray, and then when things are good, they move away. The work there, you have to put in the work. You get what I mean? You have to practice. It's a practice. Like, you have to practice what you preach. Like, go to church, do those things that feed your, like, that feed the growth of the religion, or the growth of your relationship with God. It's a relationship, right? It really is a relationship. Just like any relationship, you have to put in the work. You have to talk to God. You have to read His Word. You have to, like, seek Him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't just, like, sometimes it's like we sit and we wait. Like, go look for Him as well. Just like He comes to you, go look for God as well. And another thing I'll say to those people who feel like maybe they're not ready to start their journey to God, I would say one thing that you could ask yourself at least is, what are your values? Like, you sit down and you can Google values. What are standard values? And make a list and say, this is what I live by. Because I believe once you start having those values, you'll start looking for a higher power. You start seeking for higher guidance from higher up. Instead of just living aimlessly and just going with the flow. I mean, it's fun. I know it's fun. I know it's enticing. I know it's what's on. I know it's exciting. I've been there. I'm not speaking from a judgmental perspective, but just ask yourself, what are your values? Are you willing to put in the work? It's just know it's not easy. There will be days when you don't want to pray, and that's okay. There'll be days when you don't want to talk to God. There'll be days when you don't even try. There'll be days you'll be like, God, are you there? But as long as you have that relationship with Him, you always come back to Him. You always find yourself to Him. You always find yourself nourished with His word. You always find yourself blessed. Like, I don't know, like and I'm speaking like this not to say that I am not where I want to be. Like, I am literally just starting out, but even just the little peak that I have gotten is making me want to even go further. Like, you get what I mean? I just feel like I'm excited. I am ready, because now it's like my vision, it's like I was wearing sunglasses before and now I see the light, and I'm
Things
just
are clear.
like, wow, I was so blind.
And I think that's, if you're out there, that's literally the passion of when you see something, you want other people to know. You just want to let them know that, guys, I've been miserable too. I've been depressed, I've been sad, but I found this, and it's it. And you can find it in your own way, and understand that God, or your creator. I like to say your creator, because when you think about it, you be like, hey, okay, I was created from someone, but from something. Actually, let me not say someone, but your creator knows everything you're going through. Everything. Yeah. By the time you go cry,
he already knows.
Yeah, like, it's like being honest. And I think once you start being honest with God, like going and saying, like, God, today was hard, like I don't have the words, it's so much easier to do that with people. Like, you won't be hiding your pain.
It's therapy.
It really is. Sometimes you won't even go to people, because that conversation with God does it for you.
And like, you can talk to God, and like, you can talk to God anytime. You can be in the bathroom and vent. I'm like, God, I am here. This man just pissed me off. God, give me the grace to go through this day.
Right? Like, no D&D, nothing. God is there.
God is there.
At any time. Like, I think that's something people need to know, to not wait for their problems, to not wait for people to first... You know, for most of us, we first feel like, oh man, no one really cares about me. Everyone cares about themselves before you go to God. But for me, as a person who reads the Quran, it's there all the time that the people have their limits of how they can help you. Me, as your creator, I don't have those limits. And the Quran will tell you that I don't have any limit to what I can give you, to what I can save you from, how many times I can forgive you. You know that with people, at some point, they're going to stop and be like, you're doing too much. I don't want to forgive you anymore. Our creator doesn't have none of that. It doesn't matter what you've done. And it's like, when you have that, I think the despair goes away, because I feel like a lot of people have that lack of hope in anything. So it's like, doing good, why should I do any good? What's the point, you know? But those values are showing you that you're doing something bigger than yourself. That if I come here and I'm unkind to Kengonzi, she's going to be hurt, and then she's going to spread that hurt to someone else.
So and then it goes on and on
right?
and on.
And then you're like, oh, I have a lot of power now. How do I get to use that power? And it unravels, basically. But anyway, I cannot wait to dive deeper into this. We're going to talk more about that. Let us know what you think, and comment and tell us what you would like to hear from us. We want to discuss so many things. We've discussed so many things in our personal conversations, to a point of I'm bringing her. So let us know what you want to hear.
We always have good conversations.
Yes, we always do. And that's literally, I was like, you need to come and be a regular, because it's also helpful to me. I feel like when I'm talking to myself, my ideas don't come out the same as when I'm talking to you. So that's very helpful.
Friends are important. That's one thing I forgot to mention. Well, before you wrap up. For the people you surround yourself with are very, very important. Like, my friends motivate me to grow. They motivate me to mature. They motivate me to the person that I've become today. Is a lot of it is thanks to the people that I've surrounded myself with, because they're sort of a reflection of who I am. You know what I mean? And I'm so thankful that it's a positive reflection, that like we're all growing and maturing in a positive manner. Like, we don't have I don't have friends that are out there putting drugs into their arms, or rubber band, or
and if they're there, we're trying to
bring them in. But what I'm trying to say is, like, I don't have friends that motivating me to do that. Like, they're not sending me to do that, or they're not telling me to prostitute myself, or they're not telling me to they're like, that's not the those are not the friends that I've surrounded myself with. Like, I've surrounded myself with people who are actually motivating me to do the opposite, to grow in a different, to take a different path, to grow professionally, to go within my friendships, my relationship, that sort of thing. So I'm thankful for that. I think it's very important to look around yourself and see who you're surrounded by. What are they doing? Does it reflect your values? Do you have similar values? You might have, they might not all be the same, but do you at least do 9 out of 12 align at least? You know what I mean? You don't want to have 1 out of 12 and then it's a mismatch, but sort of.
And if you don't have friends, you can also think about your values. Because sometimes your values are the ones that take people away.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that's what even attracted us to each other. Maybe we'll share our next story of how we met. But it's like just both of us being genuine. We kind of became close naturally because of that intention to just want to be better humans. Yeah, like we set an intention, and an intention doesn't mean you're you're perfect.
Yeah,
it just means that I intend to do good. I might fail, and when I fail, I will intend again. It's that, you know, it never runs out.
And I think it's important to realize what you've just said is. I always say that I am not perfect. Like, because sometimes you might speak something of knowledge and people might say, oh, she thinks she's perfect. I'm not only speaking to you, I'm also speaking to myself. You get what I mean? Like, this whole path of taking the Lord, I am speaking to myself. The more I speak upon it constantly to the public and to the people, I am also speaking to myself. So in a way, it's sort of selfish. I want you to come into this world and see my perspective, but it's also a reminder to myself that this is where you are now, and also it helps me be accountable. You get what I mean?
Yes,
it keeps me accountable. So it's not that I'm perfect. It's just that. Yeah.
No, any person who's human or who actually understands, anyone who assumes perfection on people is someone who just doesn't understand humanity. But people already know that we're not perfect, but we're literally just saying, try. I feel like at this point we've kind of given up.
Yeah, we have given up because we're just like, I'm not perfect.
Yeah, like, and saying that while doing the thing.
Exactly.
Come on, like, you're responsible for the knowledge that you have. When you know, and we need to know that, like, when you know something is wrong, you are accountable now. The karma is coming. When you didn't know, things were okay. But now you know and you're still doing the same thing? Oh, things don't work that way. And I think that's what we're doing. It's like, we know better. Now we want to try to do better. And the trying is in every day, you know? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for chilling with us. This has been fun. We will see you in our next episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all the things. We're going to be coming with the bang, man. I'm excited to have Kengonzi with me and excited honestly for what this is going to be. Yeah. Like, we have big dreams, but you know, God is guiding us, and
honestly
we're okay as long as He's leading. So we're just grateful that you're here with us and you've given us your time. And yeah, we'll see you in our next episode.
See you in our next episode. Leave your feedback. We appreciate, I think Sophie, she's the mastermind. So leave your feedback. Feedback is always room. There's constructive criticism.
Yes, of course. Please.
Yes, please. So that, because that's the only way we can learn. Again, we're looking to grow and better ourselves, and we appreciate your opinions and constructive criticism.
Yes.
To be clear.
Yes. And topics that you want us to talk about. We could get into anything, by the way. And you will see as time goes on. Anyway, bye, guys. Have a great day.